Brothers and sisters, I invite you now to pray a blessing over our guest speaker, Father Antony Cruz.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. When we pray over the other person, always there is a joy and the blessing of everyone fills a person for whom we pray. At the beginning of this talk, I would like to thank you for inviting me to speak about my vocation. I'm sincerely thankful to the Catholic Charismatic renewal movement in our diocese. And before I begin, I request all of you to join with me in prayer for the departed soul of Father Gary Lee. Let us pray. Grant, we beseech you, O Lord, that the soul of your servant, Father Gary Lee, your priest, whom in this life was honored with a sacred office, may rejoice in the glory of heaven forevermore. Through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Eternal rest grant unto him, O Lord. And may the souls of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace.
Amen.
Here I go. Dear friends, my name is Antony Cruz Michael. I was born and brought up in India. All of my studies I did in India. And I became a priest in India. And I worked for 4 years as priest back in my country. I was born in the year 1978 on October 11th in a province called Tamil Nadu. My parents, they are alive. My father's name is Michael and my mother's name is Annamal. She has taken up Saint Anne's name. I am proud that I won the name of Saint Antony, not of wilderness, but of Padua, a miracle worker, a wonder worker. I always take a lot of strength to speak the truth from this saint. I grew up with 5 brothers and 1 sister. And 2 of my brothers are no more. I have always a sorrow and sadness for losing 2 of my brothers. But now, I have 3 brothers and 1 sister. All of them married and settled well. My father was a military man, hard worker. My mother remained a housewife to look after all the children. When I was asking Josie, what do you expect me to speak? She said and sent an email. And she said, these are the 4 questions on which you need to base your reflection and talk. Maybe the first one was with regard to how I became a Christian. I don't know when I became Christian, but I know for sure, from my birth, I am a Christian, a Catholic Christian. And my parents' family, from generation to generation, I would say, they are Catholics. No one has deviated from the faith. And my grandfather, a rich man in those days, gave the land which he had in abundance for the church to be built. In the place where I was born, still the church remains strong. It is built with rocks. No earthquake, I believe so, would demolish that. Still, the hard work of my grandfather is still remaining in that place. And that church today is a shrine. And that church is named Saint Antony. That's my family background about being a Christian. It's a traditionally Catholic family. I came to know Christ through daily prayer. When we were small children, we knelt down before the holy pictures, Jesus, Mary, and the saints, and prayed family rosary. There was no Sunday without going for Mass. And Sunday catechism was compulsory for all of us. No breakfast without Sunday catechism. Every sacrament in our lives were conferred at the appropriate age. My parents' faith, piety, devotion to Eucharist, devotion to saints, my relatives' faith, and every celebration in the family centered around the parish and the parish priest. Yearly annual pilgrimage to the shrines, fasting on Saturdays in honor of Our Lady for the favors granted through her prayers. All this, I would say, enriched my faith. My mother, even till today, kneels down before a priest and seeks for the blessing from priest. Our family always has a special concern for the priest. We have few friends as our family friends. The promise made to God fulfilled with the due season. That is, when you ask for some favor, when you get that, you are so much faithful to the blessing you have received. My parents always remain such kind of faithful Christians to God for the favors they have received from God. Another thing which influenced my life was my parents' sharing of God's intervention in their life. My mother used to tell me that she always longed for a female child because one after the other we were all born as male children. And my mother longed for a girl child. Then she prayed to Our Lady. Once she prayed to Our Lady, she got a baby child, a female child. And my sister is that person. And She was named after a lady. There is a famous shrine in India called Our Lady of Velankani. And my sister is named after this particular lady, Our Lady of Velankani. And my mom's life was saved, I would say, almost 3 times. All the 3 times she was at the danger of death. The Lord saved her. And all these things in a way influenced my life. And my mother encouraged me to go for altar serving. I was an altar boy for several years. The Lord has done wonders in my life. In my childhood days, I was interested to wear the chasuble which the priest wears. That was a simple desire. I never knew what this desire would call me to. A simple desire of a young boy. Therefore, that desire gradually built in me. So, when no one was there at home, I used to do funny things. Yesterday I went and bought this one to show you this one. This is a simple toy. And this simple toy was one of the instruments in my desire to become a priest. I would think like this toy or a doll. We have old clothes at home in abundance sometimes. So I used to take these old clothes and cut in the center of that cloth and put on this small little doll and make this doll to walk like that. Tuck, 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 tuck. So always this, I imagine that this doll represents me wearing a chasuble and imitated the priest's life. I used to celebrate Mass and utter the words of consecration. I used to sing the Mass, everything when no one was there at home. So I also used to act like missionaries. You know, when the missionaries went around to spread the good news, they used to go and establish something. When St. Thomas, the apostle, went around the world, he planted crosses in different places wherever he landed. And that is remarkable. Similarly, I used to make crosses with small sticks, small sticks, I would say, yeah. I used to make small crosses and just to plant it wherever I go, when no one sees, I used to do that kind of things. So all those things, in a way, made me to realize what I need to become. That is early, my boyhood days, I would say. But when I was growing, when I reached grade 9 and 10, I forgot absolutely this intention of becoming a priest. The call I had in me was forgotten for a while. But the Lord reminded me of my vocation. I make a statement which I would explain it at the end of my presentation. Before I had become a religious father, He made me a foster father Before I became a religious priest, he made me a foster father. Maybe I will explain about this at the end of my presentation. 2 years I spent in caring for a small little boy. During those times, I was really confused. My father told me, in our family at least, I want you to go to military. My brother said, after I finished my grade 10, I have a dream for you that you go in the IT field, information technology. My other brother said, welding is one of the blooming business now. I'm a welder, therefore take up that job. As a boy who has just completed grade 10, you get a lot of ideas from people. People tell you what you need to do. I never knew how to decide for me. There came a pastor in my parish. His name is really funny. His name is Eucharist. And this particular priest did not stay long in the parish, just 6 months. This priest called me and said, why don't you go to seminary? Because he knew my family very well, the situation in my family, and he knew for sure that what I was battling with. So he said, why don't you go to seminary? Then he applied on behalf of me and sent a letter. And within a few days, I get a mail saying, please come to this place for the camp. I never traveled all alone in my life when I was a small boy. I am the youngest at my home. So therefore, everybody had a special care for me. Even they will never allow me to go 5 kilometers all alone. Either my parents or my brothers would accompany me. I was highly protected baby. When the time came for the camp, my mom and my brother said, do you really want to go for this? I said, half-heartedly, let me go and see. Therefore, my mother came along with me to drop me to that place. And when the camp was over, she came again traveling by bus to pick me up. So all these things are, in a way, tells us and tells you that how highly I was loved and cared by my family members. During these days, I think I had in me a kind of restlessness. As St. Augustine would say, it was a restless search. When I was thinking of what to say for this talk, the letter which Pope Francis has written for religious men and women came to my mind. In that letter called Rejoice, on page 10, he says, the primacy of God gives full meaning and joy to human lives because men and women are made for God and their hearts are restless until they rest in Him. I think my heart was such restless, never knew what I'm going to decide for me. On page 19, he says, it is a gentle but profile of a God who radiates maternal vibrations and deep, contagious and supportive arm, and radiates through a people who have been crippled, whose bones have become brittle through 1,000 humiliations. It is freely given transformation that spreads out joyfully to the new heavens and the new earth. Maybe my emotions were too high, therefore I was not able to decide in which way I need to go. Then, after this camp was over, I'm getting another mail from the same society, Palatine Fathers. Come and join the seminary. In 1996, I joined the seminary. It's called the Society of Catholic Apostolate. In short, it is known as Palatine Fathers and Brothers. I did my 13 years of formation under this society and the superior's guidance. I did, during these years, 3 years in the minor seminary, 1 year in novitiate, that's called a spiritual year, and 2 years or 3 years graduation, 2 years philosophy, 4 years theology. Then in 2009, I became a priest in the same society, Palatine Fathers. I was ordained in my home parish, and it was thrilling experience for me that I was ordained in my own hometown, where I grew up, where I was an altar server. During the seminary life, even today, as priest, life is not easy. During my seminary days, I was not allowed to go for my sister's wedding, only one sister, and whose marriage I was not able to attend because I was in the novitiate. That particular year, it's a canonical rule that you cannot go home for anything. If only there is death in the family, you can go. That is a general rule. Therefore, I cried within myself. I decided to go away from seminary and quit this way of life. I had argued with the formators, my superiors, because they did not explain to me properly what type of life is this. Then I argued with one of my priests. Then he said, pack your things and go home. It was shocking for me. Then, that time the rector was not there, he was away. He was on a trip to Germany. So when he came back within 2 days, I went and told him, this is what the other priest told me. He smiled at me and said, they call me back in India Cruz. Cruz, come a little bit. There was a gentle touch, gentle words which the Lord talked to me. When the other priest told me, pack your things and go home, I did not know what to do. I cried. When the whole seminary is quiet, when no light was on the corridor or the hallway, I went into the Blessed Sacrament Chapel at 12 o'clock. I was not able to sleep because in such a way we grew up as siblings with love and care. Now, am I going to be a stranger to my sister because I'm not able to attend her wedding? These kind of feelings were going through throughout the night. The moment I sat before the Blessed Sacrament and cried, shed tears, maybe around 3 o'clock, it gave me a relief in the early morning. Then I came, maybe slept for 1 or 2 hours, then got up and went to chapel for morning prayer and meditation. No, that's what, first time in my life, I felt how the Blessed Sacrament can work in our life. It's a powerful experience which I experienced. And today, even I tell people, those who find difficult in making choices for life, who are not able to decide for themselves, I tell them, please go to the Blessed Sacrament and sit for a while. And that is a tremendous experience I had, and I tell people even today. That was one of my experience which I had. I would say that it was a difficult time for me. Adding to that, in my seminary days, I had also arguments with some priests and brothers. Because I know when it is something right, I always speak for truth. In speaking for truth, I find a lot of difficulties. And I know that the Lord was guiding me. When you speak against a formator, when you question them, sometimes you can be thrown out of the seminary. But I don't know where I got the courage to speak certain things. And it's like these 13 years were like a few moments which I lived. And there was the year 2009, I was ordained a priest. During my seminary days, I felt how I'm going to clean the pigs and animals, because my clothes were washed, my laundry was done, food was given to me by my parents. Everything was taken care. But when I go to the seminary, my mother said, she used to call me Thambi, means little brother. I don't know, how are you going to manage? Maybe the moment you think it's not suitable for you, come back. My brother always said, till I became a deacon, he said, any moment in your life, come back home. If you find life is too difficult, come back. But I took it as a challenge always. The Lord was with me, and today I'm proud to say that I'm 6 years priest, 6 years completed, and I'm in 7th year as a priest. Maybe one year worked in the parish, a big parish like Sherwood Park, with 5 cluster parishes, one as main parish. I worked in such a big parish. It gave me a lot of experiences. Then the 2nd year of my priesthood, my provincial superior called me over the phone and said, Cruz, I want you to go to the seminary to be an in charge of the students, those who are doing their graduation. I never knew that I could be a formator for the young students. I accepted that call and I went. 2 years I worked with the graduation students. And along with that, I did my master's in psychology. I was a vocation promoter, traveling on every weekend to different places to recruit students for the priesthood. Busy, but life was thrilling. I did not know how I got the energy. I used to come Monday early morning around 3 o'clock and sleep for a few hours and get up in the morning and go for my classes. That was my routine life. But the Lord gave me strength to do all that. To make it short, I would conclude with these following lines. My priesthood is The joy of the moment when Jesus looked at me. It is a contemplation of the beginning of a journey or an event initiated by Christ. It is initiative. I have accepted freely. I would say my call was not a miraculous call. Always we think that a call can be a miraculous come, like Peter leaving the nets ashore, or like Matthew leaving collecting money and doing that kind of fundraising. Leave all those things. My call was not like that. But my call, I would say, it is of event-oriented. My call was reflective as well as discerned. I found that if the Lord wants me, He will provide opportunities after opportunities. And I realized that from beginning of my life till today, lot of chances, opportunities I have received from the Lord to realize this vocation. Two incidents also influenced me to become a priest. In my grade 2, there was an incident which happened to me. We were, myself and another Catholic girl, we know each other and we studied in the same class. The only Catholics were me and the other girl. Both were studying in grade 2. One day she was running and coming to the classroom. I asked, what happened? She said, oh, one eagle is chasing me. Therefore, I am running and coming. It's going to attack me. Then I don't know. Without thinking, okay, come, let's go, I said. I brought her out of the classroom and made the sign of the cross. And maybe I thought for a while about God. I don't know how the eagle flew away. In my grade 2, it happened. Then, the second incident was when my godmother died. My godmother was my mother's sister. I was a small boy at the time. And they took me for her funeral. We had to travel a few hundred kilometers. They took me, and they never told me where we are going. Neither my mom knew about the death of her own sister. But my father knew about the death. If he tells my mom, she would not control her emotions. Therefore, he did not reveal to her what had happened. So he called the whole family and we went for this particular funeral. Suddenly, someone in the crowd comes and gives me a small little book saying, you pray this prayer. And I did not know what to do. And my mom had opened a page and gave me to read that passage. My godmother had no children. Therefore, she considered me as her own child. And for her funeral, I read the funeral service. And people said, oh, you read well. And you could be a priest. Now in the village, somebody said to me, all these things remained in my mind. And those things once a while came to mind. And today, I think all these events in a way influenced me to become a priest. Therefore I said, my vocation, my call is not a miraculous event. As someone was standing here and telling me, in every event, in every situations of life, God's blessings are seen and God guides us through every event in life. And I believe that God from my birth till today guides me through events, through people, and through situations. I'm thankful to God. My vocation is love. I have taken up this theme, and that makes me to move everywhere. And I love those phrases. And in similar situation, my founder's motto also was such. He said, love of Christ urges us on. And that also influences me in a way. I would say, dear friends, I'm thankful to God for guiding me through these events. May God be our strength. Life events shape our lives and make us choose our vocation. Therefore, I ask you, create a culture of vocation. Many of the priests we have today have become priests through the influence of spiritual culture. Vocation is a gradual revelation of me and my God. I discovered that God's call to me was more of a background whisper, a realization that in the ordinary event of my life, God was acting and guiding. Remaining in this vocation is not easy, as I said. Therefore, I ask your prayers. Continue to pray for my vocation. Thank you, and God bless you.